Okay, good evening. That's the Bas Shlomo Zalman Alevi. Okay, we're up to the Mishnah. We're going to finish the parak today. Bez Hashem, Mishnah is We're up to the Mishnah on Nun Vav on the days. Up to the Mishnah on Nun Vav on the days. Habachor v'Amaisa v'Pesach Kochim Kalim. All these are Kochim Kalim. Shchitasam b'chol mokem b'azara, and as a result of them being Kochim Kalim, the shechita is in any place in the Azara, as we saw. The domin toyin matona achas, and this is different, as opposed to the chatas, which you have to go for saviv, as opposed to the shlomim oila and asham, which is shtaim kein arba. This only requires one spritz. Ubabashi think so that sprit has to be on the north or the west, not the south or the east, because the south or the east does not contain the yisod, only what? The north or the west. So that's where the spritz has to be. However, shina b'achilasan, where they're in common that the shchita is all in the same place, that the zrika is all in the same place. Regarding achila, there are different halachas. Abachor nechal kahanim. Bechor is given to the kahanim. It's one of the matnas kahuna. Ma'isa l'chol adam, ma'isa behema. You put the animals born that year, and the 10th one that would come out, you'd strike with red paint on the back. That's also, it's eaten by the owner, not by the kohen. V'necholim b'chol ha'ir, it's eaten all Yerushalayim. B'chol ma'achol, any which way, as opposed to the Korban Pesach, we know it has to be what? Has to be tzli. L'shnei yomim v'layla echad. And just as a shlomim can be eaten for 2 days and a night, so too is the bechor, the ma'isa behema, can be eaten 2 days and a night. Pesach, however, the Korban Pesach, ein nechal ela b'layla. Korban Pesach is eaten only at night. Korban Pesach is only eaten at night. Fellas, Korban Pesach is unique. Think about it. You brought it during the day, after chatzos, right, after ben abayim. Usually a korban that's brought, everyone, you eat it that day. The chatas is eaten that day and that night, midaraisa, at chatzos, and the day, and shlomim that day, the night. This is eaten only at night. Korban Pesach is unique. It's unique korban. It's only eaten at night. In a nechal b'layla, in a nechal ela at chatzos, and it's only eaten till chatzos. In other words, as opposed to the chatas and the asham, which we said is chatzos, but that's kedei lacharchik adam in aveira, right? It really is eaten the whole until amud hashacha. The in a nechal ela menuyav, you have to be counted in, right? The Korban Pesach, if you want to count it in, it's what is they called RSVP, right? You have to be invited, pre-registered. And as opposed to the other kabbanis, which ain't a meichel, they can be the mavushal, which is usually in a liquid, or tzli. This is the dafka roasted one broiled in fire. Okay, so now I bring you back to Daf Lamid. I think it was Lamid Ches. So hang on 1 second, okay? I think it was Lamid. It was one of the days I wasn't here. It's Lamid Zayin Amid Beis. So the pasuk says, guys, Ach bechor shor, oy bechor kesev, oy bechor eis. So it goes through all the different animals. Like sifte, you can't be paid it. Kaidish heim, as domam tizrach al mizbeach, ves chelbom, and their chelev takdir isha l'reich nichayach l'Hashem. So he gives you a list of all the bechar, and then it tells you chelbom, their chelev, you should go ahead and now the question was chelbom, their chelev. Who's they referring to? So pashit, it's referring to the bechar shar, bechar kesed, bechar eis. You gave me plural, right? So the beginning of the pasuk is referring to those three things. Rabbi Yossi Aglili is going to learn, no, it's chelbom, not only the bechar, but Meiser and Pesach, it's going on Meiser and Pesach. Veer is not going back on bechar eis, bechar shar, bechar kesed. So Mantana, who is the Tana that Meiser Pesach bin one zurika? How do you know what that it's good? How do you know that it takes one zurika? The Tanya is Chel boy loy nemar It doesn't say it's doesn't say it's bechar. It's el chelbam. Damay lenemar. It doesn't say it's blood. El damam their blood. Limed al bechoru maisu pesach shetunim matan damim. Veimurim legabi mizbeach. Right. That you put matan damim. Veimurim legabi mizbeach. So that pasuk, this limud is going to be say Glili, who darshans that pasuk that I just mentioned. When it says chelbam, it's not going back on bechar shar eis. It's going on pesach and maisa. So just like bechar is rika one and a murim, so too pesach and maisa is one rika and a murim. Good. Now keneged yisoid minalan. How do you know what it's keneged yisoid? How do you know what that it has to be keneged yisoid? Rebbe Eliezer says, Rebbe Elazar, Asya Srika mi Oila. We have a Gesei Rishava, Srika mi Oila. Right, so Oila has to be guys on the side, and Bechar has to be on the side. Now, how do you know Oila is on the side? If it's Oila mi Nalon, Dechsev El Yisodim is Beach Oila, right? Limit al Oilas Shetuna Yisoid. Now, here's the question. If you go back in time, we learned it out we have a Kal V'chomer from Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yishmael. We had Kal V'chomer. It's bemis that it's really not a pasuk, fellas. We had a Kal V'chomer. We wanted to go ahead and question. All the kabbanis are connected. You said, guys, what we wanted to say is that all karbanis, it says chatas, shvicha shirayim by chatas. How do you know by oila? So this pasuk, we learned it from this pasuk. Fred Gemara, maybe this pasuk teaches me that the oila has to be connected to the side. On that, we had a kal v'chomer, the two shitas, the machloikas Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yishmael. Exactly what the machloikas. Chatas and mechapa, machatas needs to side, this needs to side. Okay, so MS, when it says over here that it's a pasuk, it's really not. It's really a kal v'chomer that we had previously. So you look at Rashi, the top Rashi, v'oila gufa minalon, kedina nispa. The Gemara is learning kedi. It's just learning it derech agav. The kal v'chomer alfina le'el. We learned it in the kal v'chomer perkan. V'hai krol drosh achrina ukmina. We said in this pasuk to teach me that all the kabbanis have to be shvichas yisayid. Okay, so the kitzur devarim hu denaka lamikra. You love kal v'chomer avi afina lamina. In other words, if not for the kal v'chomer, I would have learned it. So if not for the kal v'chomer, I would have learned it. So again, so how do we know, guys? Again, how do we know that Bechar? It says Bechar is one matan damim. Bechar is imurim. We learn that Pesach and Maisa chelbam, like Rabbi Yosef Glili. The pasuk says chelbam. It includes those two. How do you know Yisai? We learn that from Oila. How do you know Oila? Kal v'chomer, or what is pasuk? Now, imala halan. If you're going to learn from Oila, why do you learn one Bechar is only one? Shtei matana shein arba. Afkan shtei matana shein arba. Good. How do you? In other words, if you're learning at Oila location, and we know an Oila is Shtaim Shenaber, north, right, northeast and southwest, so l'chayra b'char also should need two applications and not what, just one. On that, the Gemara says, Rabbi, lama li lemichtav saviv ba'oila v'saviv b'chatas. Why do you have to write saviv? Means that you get all four sides. Havi shnei kesuvim abayim ke'echad. The two psukim that come to teach me the same thing. V'chol shnei kesuvim abayim ke'echad ein melamdim. And anything that comes to teach me two things you can't learn. In other words, if the Torah wanted to tell me, learn out all four, just say it once, and I'll learn out everything from that once. Why do you say it twice? To limit to those two locations. Only chatas, only oila needs what? Only needs shnaim shein arba. Mashen came b'char, once enough. Says that's good. That's good. Who says we don't learn that out. Who says you do learn shnei ksuvim. Let's learn out that a bechar also would need two. Says Gemara, Havi Asham Shloisha. It says Saveh by Asham, the Shloisha Vadoyinim Alamdim. So it says Saveh by Oila, Saveh by Chatas, Saveh by Asham, and therefore you know that what? It's one. Okay, so the source, Chelbam, basically, that's the source for Meiser and Pesach, that it's similar to Bechar, that one Matan Damim does the job. Can you imagine, guys, Korban Pesach, if you needed all four? Think how fast the assembly line was the Korban Pesach. Again, the window to being the Korban Pesach was so small, and how many members of Klal Yisrael, They literally there was Josephus describes it like a million karbonis. Like Josephus describes the process. The kahana must have been by the seder. They must have been wiped out.
But the saving grace was that you could have a whole group as long as you had a kazayas from the city.
Again, we're talking about the best saving grace. You still had to bring millions of a million karbonis. They said it's an incredible amount. I mean, you had a lot of people. So a lot of people had from. No, it could have been more, but still, it was incredible amount of karbonis. So if you just up to the knees, I'm just saying. So there was like an assembly line like this, like this, like this, but you only had to do one spritzing, and so it was boom, 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 boom. Or else, practically speaking, I don't have to do two sides. It'd be difficult as anything. I mean, they would have done it, but okay. Abachor nechol lekahanim. Bechor is eaten by kahanim. Turn rabbanan. Menayin lebechor shnechol l'shnei yomim v'layla. And how do you know bechor is eaten for 2 days and a night? Okay. How do you know bechor is eaten for 2 days and a night? Shenemar, because the pasuk says, here's the pasuk. It says, Ubesoram yeh lach, and their meat should be to you kechazeyat nufa, like the chest, and that's woven ukeshoik hayimin in the right leg. This is matnas kahuna. L'chayiyeh, it goes to you. So in other words, we have a pasuk that tells me we're comparing the bechor to what? To the chazav v'shaik. Chazav v'shaik is bought from the shlomim. It's also bought from the taida. It's bought from the shlomim. It's bought from the taida. Shnema ubesorim yelacha kechazat nufa ukeshoik shoik hayamin, and the pasuk concludes l'chayiyeh. A second time it says l'chayiyeh. Hakeshin kasav l'chazav v'shaik shal shlomim. The Torah compares the bechor to the chazav v'shaik shal shlomim. Mas shlomim nechalim l'shnei yom v'layla echad. Af bechor nechal l'shnei yom v'layla echad. Good. V'zu she'ela nisheles l'fnei chachamim b'keren b'yavneh. So we know that after the Churban Bayis, right, that Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai made a request, give us Yavne v'chachamecha, and they sat in rows like a kerem, so therefore it was called kerem b'yavne. Okay, guys, outside. There's two karbonis that it says you bring the chaz of a shaykh, the kohen gets. One is shlamim, two is a taida. One is a shlamim, two is a taida. They are different in halacha because the shlamim is eaten for 2 days and a night, and taida is eating for a day and a night. If I compare the bechor to shlamim, you can eat bechor for 2 days and a night. If I can compare it to a taida, then it's only a day and a night. My comparison over here is to chaz v'shaik. It doesn't say the chaz v'shaik which animal. So the assumption is you're making the assumption it's the chaz v'shaik of a shlamim, and therefore you get 2 days and a night. Rabbi Yossi Aglili is going to appear on the scene. This is the first time we have Rabbi Yossi Aglili mention the Gemara. He's going to challenge this and say, why do you compare the chaz v'shaik of shlamim and give it 2 days and a night? Compare the bechor to taida and give it a day and a night. That's going to be the dialogue of the Gemara. Okay, but the Gemara compared it to shlamim. So what happened in Keren B'Yavneh? Here's what happened. V'zu sheila nishla l'fnei chachamim b'Keren B'Yavneh. Bechor l'kama noichal. Right? How much is the bechor eaten? How long? So then Rav Tarfin got up and answered, V'amar l'shnei yomim v'layla echad. Hayisham Talmud echad shebo lebeis hamedrash. This is a new Talmud echad, a young whippersnapper. L'fnei chachamim techila. This is the first time he appears. Rabbi Yossi Aglili Shmo, and it's none other than the famous what? Rabbi Yossi Aglili. None other than Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Amaloi Rebbe. So Rabbi Yossi Aglili said to Rav Tarfin, Rebbe, minayin lecha, how do you know that a bechor is eaten for 2 days and a night? So Amaloi, so he told him, Bini, shlomim kachim kalim, ubechor kachim kalim. A shlomim is kachim kalim, and a bechor is kachim kalim. Ma shlomim nechol shnei yom v'layla echad, af bechor nechol shnei yom v'layla echad. So guys, obviously they're not going with the chasik tenu for the pasuk, right? Right? In other words, he's not saying it's a pasuk. You got a little inside information. You got the pasuk earlier, right? But this is the way it evolved to the pasuk, right? You want to make a memetzinu. Just like you find the Kachim Kalim is 2 days and a night, so this is also Kachim Kalim, it's 2 days and a night. So I'm not comparing it because of Chaz v'Shaik. I'm comparing it because the Mitzias of the carbon is what? Is Kachim Kalim. Again, I'm not comparing it because of Chaz v'Shaik. I'm comparing it simply because it's Kachim Kalim. So just like Kachim Kalim, a Shlomim is 2 days and a night, so too is the Bechar. Amalei Rebbe, Bechar matana l'kayin, v'chatas v'asham matana l'kayin. Ma chatas v'asham l'yom v'layla, af b'chal l'yom v'layla. So Rabbi Yosef literally said, if you're finding a memetzina to kachim kalim, I can find a memetzina to kachim kadashim. Right? Just like it's matnas kahuna, meaning the chatas, the meat of the chatas, the meat of the asham goes to the kayin, so to the meat of the b'char goes to the kayin. So I can make that dimyan and say it's a day and a night. Amaloi. So Rabbi Tarfon replied to Rabbi Yosef Lili, Nidin davar midavar, v'nilma davar midavar. What does that mean? Mashlomim ein boyin elach al chet, af b'chor ein boyin al chet. That's one commonality. And what's the other commonality? Mashlomim necholim shnei yom v'lay lechad, af b'chor nechol shnei yom v'lay lechad. Guys, a chatas might be matnas kahuna, but it's bought for a chet. A b'chor is matnas kahuna, but it's not bought for a chet. So let's learn it out. In other words, you want to compare it to Chatas v'Yasham. Chatas v'Yasham is different. Why? Chatas v'Yasham is bought for a chait. He did something wrong. Masha and Kain B'char is just automatically yours. And the Mela now removing that dimyon to Chatas v'Yasham, I'll simply say that what 2 days and a night like a shlamim. So Amaloi said Rabbi Yossi Haglili Rebbe to Rabbi Tarfon Rebbe. Nidin davar midavar, yilma davar mid. Okay, I'm going to go learn. Chatas v'yasham matnas l'kayin ubecham matan l'kayin. Ma chatas v'yasham ein boyin benedu benedava. Af bechor ein a boy benedu benedava. Oh, so I have another commonality. Forget the chay part, right? A shlomim is bought is a neder and a dava. Harizu harilai. A bechor automatically goes to the kayin. Ma chatas v'yasham nechol miyam echad. Af bechor nechol. In other words, Rabbi Yossi Aglili is not buying into Rabbi Tarfon's right away, his dimyan. You want to say there's not a chait? Okay, I agree. But this matnas kahuna, it's matnas kahuna, and it's not bar bened and v'dava. Bechor is also similar. It's matnas kahuna, and it's not bar bened and v'dava. So right now, we seem to be at a standstill in the conversation between Rabbi Tarfon and Rabbi Yossi Aglili. So, Kafetz Rabbi Gamliel. Who joins the fray? Kafatz. He jumped in. Says Rabbi Akiva, Finistalik, Rabbi Tarfon leaves. Amar Loi, Rabbi Akiva says, forget the dimyonis to what, to this, that, and the next thing. Hariomer ubesoram yelecha, hekeshev akoset lechazav v'shoik shel shlomim. Mashlom nechol shtayom v'layla echad, af b'chor nechol shlomim v'layla echad. In other words, when you Rabbi Tarfon were trying to learn a memetzino, Rabbi Yosef was saying you don't have a memetzino more to shlomim than you do the chatas v'asham. Comes from Rabbi Akiva, it's nothing to do with the memetzin, it's a pasuk. What's the pasuk? Ubesaram, the bus of the chaz should be to you like the chaz of a shaik. Where the chaz of a shaik is a shlamim. Just like a shlamim is 2 days and a night, so too what? Bechor is 2 days and a night. Good? So you would think this is a winning argument. What is Rabbi Tarfon going to retort? What's Rabbi Yossi going to retort? He's going to retort that what? 1 second. Once you're dealing with chaz of a shaik, a titan is also chaz of a shaik. So Amaloi, he kashed the chaz of a shaik. What?
Pretty gutsy to take on Rabbi Akiva.
Listen, this is where he made his name. It's the first time Talmud's showing up, and he's giving everyone a tough time, right? So Rabbi Yossi Galili says, Amaloi says to Rabbi Akiva, he kashtiv l'chazav v'shaik shel shlamim. You went ahead and make the hekesh to chazav v'shaik shlamim. You get 2 days and a night. V'ani makishu l'chazav v'shaik shel taida, and I'm makish to the chazav v'shaik shel taida. Ma taida nechelas l'yom v'layla. So Amalei Rabbi Akiva, Hari Omer, Ubesorim Yelecha, Shein Tamid Loimar L'Chayiyah. Guys, I told you the pasuk. Listen to this pasuk, fellas. Ubesorim Yelecha. It says one. Kechaze Atnufa Ukshek Hayamin, and then it says L'Chayiyah. It repeats L'Chayiyah. You know why it repeats L'Chayiyah? It's to give you another day. Yelecha, 1 day. L'Chayiyah, 2nd day. So the pasuk goes ahead and takes care of that. That's what Rabbi Akiva finally says. So you want to know, in other words, guys, Rabbi Akiva is agreeing that you could learn the hekesh to Taida. He's agreeing. He didn't make nishvis and dik. He didn't say there's nothing to do with this hekesh. He's agreeing. I want to make the hekesh chaz of a shaykh to shlamim. You want to make the chaz of a shaykh. Okay, I agree. You make it to Taida, chaz of a shaykh to Taida. I agree. But it says l'cha yiyeh, and it says yiyeh l'cha l'cha yiyeh. Why does it say two yiyehs? To give me another avaya, another day from the pasuk itself. But again, Rabbi Kiva, this is the Pesach to the rest of the Gemara. Rabbi Kiva is seemingly agreeing with the comparison to. Okay, now guys, here's the problem. Where do you know that a toida is chaz of a shaykh? Where do you know that from? You know it from a hekesh tishlamim. You know, guys, again, where do you know that the chaz of a shaykh of a toida is goes to the kayin? You know it from a hekesh tishlamim. So l'chayra, Rabbi Akiva if he agrees with this, it's a davar lo me hekesh. You learn out chaz of a shaykh of toida from shlamim. And now you can learn at Bechor, a hekesh to what? To Taida. Tava halom mehekesh, chazal mehekesh? No, that's box number one. that's box number one on the chart, right? That chart's great. That's box number one, right? So l'chayra, this is the problem. So what happens now? What do you say the second time? Another time span. So you give in what? And when Rabbi Shmuel heard this conversation that took place between Rabbi Yosef Glili and the great Rabbi Akiva, Amar lehen, said Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Akiva, go say to Rabbi Akiva, to Isa, you made a mistake. By allowing the hekesh to toida because of a shaykh, you made a mistake. Toida mehechin lamda. Where do you know that a toida, the chaz of a shaykh goes to the kayin? Mishlamim. You learn it now from the kar mishlamim. V'chidava halamim behekesh chazaru malamim behekesh is something that you learn from a hekesh. Could it go ahead, guys? What are you tining? You're tining that just like the chaz of a shaykh of a toida is a day and a night, so to b'char days and a night. The chaz of a shaykh by a toida gufa you learn from shlamim. It's a hekesh to a hekesh. Good. So Rabbi Shmuel concludes what? He concludes that don't learn like the lashon achron comparing chaz of a shaykh of taida. Learn it what? Compared to chaz of a shaykh of shlamim, which is not learned from a hekesh, and therefore you know it's 2 days and a night, and you don't need the pasuk then, guys, and you don't need the pasuk of ubesorm yilacha. Why? Because I have a hekesh. Just like shlamim the chaz of a shaykh is 2 days and a night, so to bechor is 2 days and a night. Good. Now, Rabbi Shmuel, Hai l'cha yiyeh my avid lei. I said that wrong. In the pasuk, they compared bechor to chaz of a shaykh. So just like chaz of a shaykh is 2 days and a night, so too is bechor. Now, what does Rabbi Shmuel do with the pasuk of Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Shmuel, Hai l'cha yiyeh my avid lei. The pasuk of Rabbi Akiva that he used to teach me that a shlamim is bechor is 2 days and a night. He doesn't need it because he has the hekesh to what? To shlamim. He doesn't need the pasuk because he has the hekesh to shlamim. My avid lei. Limit al bechor balmum shu matan l'kayin. L'cha yiyeh. The second one is the if it's tamim it goes to you, and even if it's a balmum it goes to you. Bechor balmum goes to the kayin. Shalei matzin b'chol ha'Torah. You don't find any place in the Torah that what it says it goes. So l'cha yiyeh is speaking about balmum.
You have to wait for it to.
That's only to eat it. If it doesn't have a mum, he has to bring it to the base of the mikdash as a carbon. If it has a mum, he can put it in his backyard. But how do you know it goes to him? Maybe he loses it, right? Rabbi Akiva Yalef also the bechor is born as a mum. He go to the kohen also. Let's say the bechor is born and has a mum. He would go to the kohen also. Rabbi Akiva Yalef nevi b'saram. He says in the word b'saram chad tam v'chad balmum. Right, one for tam and one for balmum. Rabbi Shmuel, what does he do from that? B'saram the hanach b'chayres kamar. Guys, he doesn't learn b'saram like Rabbi Akiva. B'saram meaning what? The b'chor ma'isa pesach. He learns ach b'chor shor b'chol eis b'chol keves. That the word when it says b'saram b'chelkam, it's going back on those 3 b'chayres. So it's not for a limud. It's just the pasuk. You're speaking about plural at the beginning of the pasuk. So you just b'saram refers to that. Okay, now what are they arguing in? What are they arguing in? Guys, like Rabbi Akiva, you could learn, like Rabbi Akiva, guys, you could learn from Toida to the Bechar. Just like a Toida is the Chaza, it says in the Pasuk, Chaza v'Shaik, it could be the Toida. It's learned from Shlamim. So L'chayr Rabbi Akiva does not argue on the din of Davar Lo Mehekesh Chazal Lo Mehekesh. Guys, box number one on the chart, no one argues with, right? Good. How can Rabbi Akiva then say you could learn out Bechor to be a day and a night? You could learn it out from Taida, right? He could. And Rabbi Shmuel says not. Good. Now, usually a hekesh, in hekesh lemechza, you're learning out everything. You learn out the whole thing. Do I need a limud for Taida being a day and a night? No, I don't need a limud for that. It says it openly. It says it openly. What do you want to do? You want to go ahead and tell me that a Bechor should be a day and a night. Yes? So watch. I have two dinim over here by what? By Taida. I have a din of a day and a night, and I have a din of what? Of Chaz v'Shaik. Yes? Only one of these dinim is learned from a Hekesh. The other one's not. So I want to go ahead and learn Bechor from, if I learn Bechor from Taida, I'm going to learn a day and a night, correct? But the day and a night are not what? It's not a Hekesh. The day and a night is stated. Here's the machlokes in Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva. If the din I'm learning out, right? The din I'm learning out, a day and the Chaz v'Shaik is what I learn out. So in other words, I can learn out. Your limud is in the pasuk, right? It's the hekesh. You're making a hekesh from Bechor to Taida based upon the Chaz v'Shaik, which is learned out from a hekesh. Good. But there's something I'm learning from Bechor to Taida that's not learned out from a hekesh. So here's the question. If there's something else I learn out, not only the hekesh, and something I do learn out of hekesh, is that considered davar lo mehekesh or not? So, loy Rabbi Akiva, vi balt, I don't need the hekesh to teach me a day and a night, because it says it openly by Taida. And I'm only using the hekesh for the chazit tufa. That's not considered davar lo mehekesh, chazal lo mehekesh. Loy Rabbi Yishmael, it would be. Loy Rabbi Yishmael, it would be. You hear, guys? Guys, you hear? Again, we're learning out the din of what? Of a day and a night. The din of a day and a night is stated openly by Taida. It's only the din of Chaz v'Shaik by Taida I learned from Shlamim. And that's my connection to Bechor, right? That Hekesh. So the question is, Davar Hekesh, but I don't need the other thing. It's not a Hekesh. The day and the night is stated openly. Is that considered Davar Hekesh or not? That's the machlokes. Let's see inside. B'may kamifli, what's the machlokes between Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva, whether you come out from Taida or not? Rabbi Yishmael obviously said you don't, and Rabbi Akiva said you do. Masava, Rabbi Yishmael is of the opinion, himenu v'davar acher, himenu, the din of what? Of a day and a night. V'davar acher, a chaz v'shaik, havi hekesh, it's considered a hekesh, and therefore you can't learn it out the Bechor. Umasava, and Rabbi Akiva is of the opinion, loy havi hekesh, it's not a hekesh. So since since what? Since it says Yom Echad openly, and that's I don't need that for a hekesh, even though the second part of Chaz v'Shaik I do need the hekesh, it's not Chaz v'Lam hekesh. Okay, there are two more places we're going to go ahead and do this. I sent out. Let's do this outside. I sent out the psukim. I sent it out. I don't know if I sent it to you.
Oh, you did. You did.
Okay, great. Okay, you have it, guys. This is Perek Tez Zayin. This is Perek Tez Zayin in Vayikra, and it's by the Kohen Gadol. Okay, what we know, the Kohen Gadol does what, fellas? He brings a par and a seir. Yes, he brings a par and a seir. What's unique about this par and the seir? You bring the dam inside, guys. You bring the dam inside. You sprinkle it between the orin. Achas lemaila. One with your hand going this way. Guys, look. One with your hand going this way, and 7 going the other way. Yes? V'chein taseh lehechel. He comes out of the oil mayeh, he comes out of the Kodesh Kodashim, and he does the same thing in front of the Praichas. Where do you learn the din of 1 and 7 from? And where do you learn the din? Okay? So watch. Pasuk Dalet. The lokach midam hapar, the chiza be'etzba'o al pnei kaporis kedma. He takes the dam of the par, he sprinkles with his finger on the face of the kapyrus, that's the covering of the Aron to the east. Ulefnei kapyrus, and in front of the kapyrus, yazeh sheva pamim. So he's doing two sprinklings, guys. The first one is v'hiza betzboyal pnei kapyrus kedma. Does it tell you how many he does? And pasuk Yudala, guys, it does not tell you how many he does. Correct? That one. Ulefnei kapyrus yazeh sheva pamim and adam betzbo. So it says 7 by the par. It does not tell you how many you do. That's 7 lamata. It doesn't tell you the one lamaila. Pasuk tesvav. V'shochet es seir achatas shalom. V'evi es damoy el v'beis laparoiches. V'os es damoy kasher osel dam apar. V'hiza oisai al akapires v'lefnei akapires. What does oisai mean? Once. So you know what you learn out, right, guys? What do you learn out? You learn out from par the number 7. You learn out from seir the number 1. So you have a hekesh between seir and a hekesh between par. Par tells me 7 times, and seir teaches me the 1 time. Good. Where is this all performed, fellas? Where is this all performed? Inside the Kodesh Kodashim. Pasuk Tezayin. V'chiper ala kodesh mitumas b'nei Yisrael u'mpishayim l'chol chatoisam v'chein yaseh l'oyel mayed hashoich nitam v'chein yaseh, and you should do to the oil mayed. And this is a second hekesh. Whatever you did inside, you should do outside. Whatever you did inside, you should do outside. Good? Now, this is the case of himenu v'davar acher, right? Himenu, it says 1, it says 7. You're learning a hekesh, and then you're learning another hekesh. So like Rabbi Kiva, it's good. Like Rabbi Yishmael, it ain't. Let's see it inside. Okay, guys, I think that's I think it was very helpful. Says the Gemara, Bishlema lemande amar loy havi hekesh, according to Rabbi Akiva, hainu dechsiv v'chein yaseh l'oyel mayed. Right, you should do in the oil mayed, meaning do in the front of the proiches. Kishem shemazel lefnai lefnim achas lemayla v'sheva lemata midam apar kach mazel behechel ukishem shelefnai lefnim achas lemayla v'sheva lemata midam asair kach mazel behechel. So l'chayra, this is a case of himenu v'davar acher, the 1 and the 7, and you're learning about two in front. El manda maybe hekesh ma'yik lemeimar. The mandi amma that it's a hekesh like Rabbi Shmuel. What are you going to say? Okay, and for the Gemara, mekoy meishud gamir me'adadi. These are 2 separate hekeshim. The first hekesh is referring to the animals, and the second one is referring to the places. Don't learn it as a dava haloyim me hekesh to something else, guys. By Bechar, you're learning out dava haloyim me hekesh chazan lami hekesh. You're learning out Bechar from Shlamim, and Chazit Trufa from Shlamim, and then you're learning it then to Taida, and then you're learning it to Shlamim, animal to animal. What's that over here? It's not animal to animal. The first one is telling me the numbers, and the second one is telling me the place. Look at Rashi, guys. The the Gemiri Hadadi, 2 lines to the bottom. And this is not a case of something that you learned is going to go back and teach me behekish. The behekish kama behemis ishkish. In the first hekesh, it's behemis. You're comparing the par and the sayer. Ubehekish basra mikaimis ishkish. And the second one, what are you comparing? Location. You're comparing the outside to the inside. Avagabe toidu bechar chaz v'shoik shel toidu hukish lebechar v'yatzma lemidim mishlam behekish. That's animal to animal. So that's the first teretz. First teretz again. Like Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel says animal to animal, even though the animal, the first one, one day was stated by that animal. V'bat, you're learning out chaz v'shoik from that animal, and that you learn from another animal. You can't compare to another animal. So since I learned toida from shlamim, I can't go ahead and learn toida to bechar. Mashenkin over here. What am I learning over here? I'm learning 1 to 7, 7 to 1. Those were 2 animals, and now you want to say you can't learn it to the outside. There's 2 different places, 2 divinication. Okay, that's given. That's given. Okay. The Iba Yisema. The Iba Yisema, there's the Iba Yisema, chutz mibifnim bichad zim negamar. Now, it says v'chein yasel loyal moed. The Torah makes a hekesh over here. The Torah makes a hekesh. So you should do to the loyal moed. Now, what does that mean? Whatever I did outside, inside, I do outside. Yes, guys, That's the guy. The pasuk. It's a mafurish pasuk. State in pasuk, right? State in pasuk ultimately. It says, "V'chein yasel oil moyed," and so you should go ahead and do the oil moyed, right? David Friedman, yeah, you good? There's a mafurish pasuk, yeah. Now, once you have that mafurish pasuk, anything that it said on the inside, I'm going to schlep along to the outside. Anything it said on, I have it. No, I have a mafurish hekesh. Now, what does that hekesh tell me? Anything that took place on the inside is going on the outside. Once you have that commonality, so the 1 and the 7 that took place on the inside is being schlepped along. It's only one hekesh. In the first shot, it's 2 hekeshim. One animal, one makoim. Over here, it's only one hekesh. The hekesh, whatever you did on the inside, you do on the outside. What did I do on the inside? Okay, 7 and 1, do it on the outside, but it's not 2 different occasions. That's the chilik between number 1 and number 2. Number 1 is two separate occasions. Number 2 is one hekesh, and look with the lashon of pasuk. These are chutz mibifnim, inside from outside. I'm going to learn it one way. You should do on the outside whatever you did in the inside. What did I do in the inside? Schlep it along, the 7 and the 1. One hekesh, not 2. Now, there's another din, fellas. This other din, okay, outside. There is a carbon called the lachme toida. It's the lachme toida consists of 4 different types of loaves. 3 of them are matzah, 1 of them is chametz. We have the shtei lechem that's bought on Shavuos. The shtei lechem that's bought on Shavuos, right? Accompanying the kivtzei atzeres, right? That matters the chodesh in the Medina. We're going to have a commonality between the lachme toida that's chametz and this that's chametz, right? This that's chametz. What's the commonality? That just like the shtei lechem, each one was bought from an isarin, so too the 10 loaves of challah are going to be isarin each. It's going to be a total of 10 esrainim. In addition, those 10 esrainim are for the chametz. These are the 3 we're going to have a limud, a hekesh. These 3 to this one. These 3 to this one, right? What's these 3 to this one? Just like this is 10 esrainim, this is 10 esrainim, right? So this one is going to be 10 esrainim for those 3. Good? So that's one hekesh.
For each one, or 10
No, 10 esrainim for all 3 of them. It's in totality. This is going to be, so there you're going to have a third. Each one's going to be the third, right? How do you know 10? That you learn from Gezerah Shava to Maisa. Just like Maisa is 1 out of 10, so too the Kohen gets 1 out of 10. So in Mele we know it's 10. So that's a limud, and that's Chayze L'Lamed Behekesh. So we're going to see that's the kasha. Says the Gemara. Says the Gemara, the second question. Bishleim El Mandi Amar, who says Mehekesh, like Rabbi Akiva, Havi Hekesh, Hainu Dechsiv, Mimoshvei Seichim Taviu Lechem Tenufa. This is again by the Kifsei Atzeres. From your Moshe, from where you live, bring Lechem Tenufa. Shein Tamid Loima Taviu. You don't have to say Taviu. It should just say what? Bring it. Ma Tamid Loima Shuv Taviu. Why do you have to say Tavu? I guess to say it a second time, right? My second Taviu Lifnei. Shein Tamid Loima Taviu. The pasuk says, "V'kraftem mincha chadasha," guys. The pasuk before says you should bring a mincha chadasha. So I know v'kraftem, it's taviu is extra because it says you should bring it. So we know that you bring it. Matamad leima taviu, that to teach me that anything that's chametz shatamevi mimakam acher harihu kizer. So the lachmei toida that you should be similar to what the shtei lechem. That's again. This is the only time you bring chametz on the mizbeach, and you don't even bring it on the mizbeach. Me isarin lechala, afkan, so too what by the lachmei toida is isarin lechala. So each chala is going to be isarin. I mala halam by the shtei lechem together it's shnei esroinim. Afkan by the lachmei toida, I might think it's shnei esroinim, so it's 1/5. Guys, I might think right, it's 1/5, right? 2 esroinim for 10. Talmud Leimar, it says Tihiyena. Guys, the yud is extra. You know what the extra yud teaches me? That each 10, one has to be out of isarin for each one. Not shtei lechem, not shtei esroinim for all 10. but what they should have 10 for each one should be 10. For lamadnu asara lechametz, right? Asara lematzah. So guys, so you have one limud. What is to learn out from shtei lechem? The second limud is that you're going to learn out the remaining 3 matzah from the challah. Again, there's 4 types. And what are you going to learn out? You're going to learn out asar lematzah. Minayin, that the shear, Talmud Loimar, it says al chalis lechem chametz, right? Neged chametz heavy matzah. So now there's two steps to the limud. The first one is the shtei lechem teaching me about the lachmei toida, the chametz. And then you have a second step teaching me what? A hekish from the chametz to the 3 matzahs. Just like the chametz is 10 esrainim, so too the matzahs are 10 esrainim. Now, how do you know 10? You learned that from Meiser. So now, the shear of lachmei chametz is 10 esrainim, and that we learn a shtickle from a hekish and a shtickle not from a hekish. Because the din lachmei chametz of the toida, we learn from Gezer Shava, from Chumas Maisa. Just like that, it's a 10th. So too the Lachmei Chametz is a 10. And it's if it's written Mefurish. So now you have a kasha. According to Rabbi Shmuel, how do you learn this? How are you able to learn a Davalon Mehekesh, this 10, to the case of Chametz, which is telling me is 10? Elamadi said, Elamandi Amar Loyhavi Hekesh, Mayek Lamema. What are you going to say? So he answers Taviu. Yeah, you have another, it says Taviu. Yiserahi. And this taviu is extra. Rashi says, Taviu ribuyahu, the Rabbi's chometz shebetoida, shekol shnaim shebo yesh shnaim esrainim, and each one should be 2 esrainim, from 2 esrainim, but command chsiv begufei belachmei toida. V'la mishtei lechem gami. In other words, he learns it directly, but it's not learned out from shtei lechem, it's learned out from the word taviu. If you made a hekesh between the chametz to the toida shtei lechem, the krach rina. So since you didn't make a hekesh it's not a double on the hekesh, and therefore it's not a problem. Okay. HaPesach in a nechal. The Pesach is only eaten right during the day, at night. Excuse me. Let's see. Mantana, it's only eaten at night. Amar Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Elazar, he the Tanya, Rabbi Elazar, Omer, Nemakam Balayla Hazeh, Nemala Halan, Vavati Beretz Soy Balayla Hazeh, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Mala Halan at Chatzois, Afkan at Chatzois. That's the limitation. It's eaten at night until Chatzois. Okay. Amar Rabbi Kiva, Valakfai Nema, Vachalta Meisabit Chipazon, Achas Chipazon, which was during the day. Right? We went out during the day, and came out Tamlon Balayla Hazeh, Sheyachid Heikachala Kochem Necholam B'Yoim. Says Rabbi Akiva, the word Balayla is not to tell me to limit it, what the amount, right? It's teaching me that I can only begin at night. Again, usually a korban that you bring during the day, you would eat during the day. Korban Pesach, you have to start at night. So when it says Balayla, according to Rabbi Elazar, it's to limit this man only at night. According to Rabbi Akiva, no. It's telling me you could eat it the whole night until B'shas Kipazon. Why does it say Balayla then? You can only start at night, you can't start during the day. Right. Amalei Abaye, Ma'ader of Elazar ben Azariah, the Raisa, at Chatzois, until Chatzois, guys, what do we say? Till Chatzois, what do we say? Usually, it's Kedei Lahakik Adam ben Avera. We usually don't say that it is the Raisa. So the Gemara asks the Kasha, like Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, how did you know that it's the Araisa? Maybe it's the Rabbanan. Or my the Elazar ben Azariah. The Araisa is Chatzois, still Mr. Rabbanan, Kedei Lahakik Adam ben Avera. So and says Rabbi Yosef in Cain, right, when the Mishnah said, "My the Lashon Mishnah Eina Nechal Ela Ad Chatzos," it would have been enough to say V'Nechal Ad Chatzos. Why do you say Ela Ad Chatzos? Ki Hasam, like the rest of the Dinim mentioned in the Mishnah, like that you have to eat the Korban Pesach Balayla, you have to eat it B'Tzli. Mahosam, all the Dinim mentioned are Deraisa. Afkan, so to the Din of Ad Chatzos is Deraisa, and Hajj Alecha is a Mekaymin. Hajj Alecha is a Mekaymin. Have a good night. Feel good, Benji.